Do you believe this rumor is true? What would that mean for Bitcoin prices and the crypto market as a whole if it ends up passing? Also, SUI has a very big splash. It is one of the top gainers of the day. And breaking news, Texas has passed in the state Senate their bill for a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Now it is going to the House. So much great news is happening as we continue to predict the bull market is not over. But where are we going from here? Stick around for the entire show to figure that out. Make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. But first, we got to roll the intro. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the Investing Bros live show. You do see it's a different show today. No T-Shroom. He is out on a vacation trip, right? And unfortunately, unlike when I go on vacation, the crypto markets pump. We seem to be pulling back as he's left the state today. So we're going to need T-Shroom to get back ASAP. But I am joined by the one, the only, Smay, with those epic glasses. How you doing today, Smay?
I'm doing fantastic, Tim. And I just want to say, me and Tim are matching today. Black hoodie, Investing Bros hat. I mean, it's the fit. It's the fit.
I think technically, I think this is actually a brown hoodie. The lighting makes it look weird. My dirty, dingy hat, which I'm getting a new one here very soon, might make it look like this is actually a brown hoodie, though. So we're not matching.
I don't know if this is a callback to my burnt orange joke, but that is totally a black hoodie.
It's not a callback at all. I'm okay. All right. Well, it is what it is.
I reject that as it is not the truth. Anyways, Tim, how are you doing?
I'm doing good today. There's a lot of things to digest. It's going to be fun because, again, anytime that T-Shroom is out, that means I cover the news, I cover the charts. You guys will hear a lot of Tim, but we'll make sure to sporadically break it up with a thought or two from Smay. Smash a one in chat if you want to hear more Smay talking today. If there's only like 2 ones, then Smay's just going to go away forever and we'll never see him ever again. So smash that one if you guys are excited. Let's get into it with the news here. Go ahead and share already to my screen some breaking news that it looks like within the last 3 minutes. Now, Donald Trump at 2 o'clock was signing an executive order. There was speculation it was going to have to do with crypto, a lot of different things. I wasn't watching it, so we're going to have to kind of in chat, kind of read chat and see what's going on there. But Watch.Guru did just say that President Trump said, I'm not even looking at the stock market. More on that later. Some people are going to like hearing that. Some people do not want to hear that. But that is something absolutely that is happening right now. And again, I'm sure you guys in chat, things will develop as we are live here. Let me know. Hit us up if something big happens from Donald Trump. He was supposed to be live at 2 o'clock in normal Trump fashion. He was not live at 2 o'clock. So that is what it is. Some other stories, some other big things that you want to be aware of today. There's ads here. Just kidding. Google Workspace is just good there. Still, Bitcoin is in extreme fear at 25. It is slowly ticking up. Last week we made it all the way down to 10. But the Bitcoin markets are still in extreme fear. That is a very good sign that we still have a long way to the upside to go, right? If we were ticking back into neutral, into greed as we were back towards 90K, then I would have some questions, some problems. But for right now, this is a very, very good sign that we still have more to upside to come. Some other articles we're going to talk about today. This is the article, again, circulating the internet. People are talking about this all over X. There's speculation on a potential 0% capital gains tax for the U.S. crypto by Donald Trump. He talked about that when he was running in his campaign. Will he deliver on that promise? Rumor is we might hear a little more about that tomorrow night at the crypto summit. Also in the news, Donald Trump. He's going to be in the news a lot here as we're monitoring the markets. President Trump has negotiated a tariff pause with Mexico and is sticking it to Trudeau at the same time. I don't care as much about that one. What I care about is this message from the Donald Trump Truth Social account. The biggest thing here is that Mexico will not require to pay tariffs on anything that falls under the USMCA agreement. A lot of vehicles, some energy stuff, some things to do with labor costs that go back and forth. As a whole, though, why is this happening? Well, he's saying thank you to President Scheinbaum, is that how you say her name, for her hard work and cooperation. Pretty much she's doing everything that the United States is asking her to do with Mexico. Therefore, we continue to watch these trade wars going on. If you do what Trump wants, he'll remove your tariffs. If you don't do what Trump wants, those tariffs are going to hurt you a lot more than they hurt us. Also in the news, we got a couple different headlines here. Massively breaking story. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill passes the Senate floor 25-5 in Texas. Now, there was some misinformation circulating the internet. Some people believe that this meant all of a sudden it is approved. Texas officially has passed to have a strategic reserve of Bitcoin. It now will go to the House to vote on this. I believe Utah has also come to this step. So this is something, it's very bullish, very good. I have very good feeling about both Utah and Texas having a strategic reserve of Bitcoin, more than likely probably before the federal government does. But just so you're clear, this wasn't the official launch of it. This wasn't the official approval. It's just one step closer to being the right way. But I love that 25-5, a commanding victory for pro-Bitcoin legislation. Keep going on. Of course, as I said earlier, tomorrow night there will be the Friday night's White House Crypto Summit. A list of names, the updated list of names. Some of you might be wondering about this. We'll read it a little bit later, but there's a couple of names on here that are really cool. A couple of names on here that are missing that we also probably need to discuss in one way or another. But we'll talk about that from Eleanor Tourette posting the updated list. And from what we understand, this list, when we go through it in the next couple of 20 minutes from now or so, probably the final list of names from what we're understanding. But that is something to be aware of. Some bad news. Bad news. Why this pro-Bitcoin senator, by the way, that's Senator Lummis, in case anyone didn't recognize her face, why she doesn't think Trump's Bitcoin strategic reserve will happen soon. Details will come. This will be one of the discussions we have later in the show, but I wanted to make sure you're aware of the headline. It's not all daisies and rainbows out there for Bitcoin moving forward. Keep moving on, though, in light of this issue that we might not have a Bitcoin strategic reserve for a while. The U.S. government sold 195,000 Bitcoin for $366 million over the past decade, according to David Sachs. Today, that Bitcoin would be worth $17 billion, according to the crypto czar. Today, the U.S. still holds all the Bitcoin that it did in February, which is very smart. What does this mean? What's the point of this argument? Well, as we're talking about this story, saying some congressmen, some people are still a little hesitant about holding Bitcoin. If they had simply held Bitcoin before, again, $366 million of Bitcoin to be exact, today, that would be worth $17 billion. Could you imagine if we took what our current billions of dollars of Bitcoin is and we have the same type of growth in the next couple of years? It would be absolutely massive. Look forward to that. Also, this was a very confusing tweet. I actually had to spend a lot of time breaking down the details here. It was originally posted by Zero Hedge. Kobesi Letter has retweeted it, but he's talking about the trade war, the Trump tariff trade wars, and how if you go back and look at Trump trade war number one, way back, I believe this was in 2018 when Trump was setting tariffs on, we are on schedule to mimic the S&P 500 perfectly. Guess what? We're dipping right now in March. But March, if we do follow the pattern continuously, this is a fractal, so be aware it's a fractal. This would suggest the bottom on the S&P 500 is close, and we are getting ready for a massive shoot to the upside should it repeat. So you don't want to sleep on that. And of course, in the altcoin news, SUI, massive deal here. Donald J. Trump inspired World Liberty Financial and SUI Incorporated strategic reserve deal, or the Inc. A strategic reserve deal and collaboration. I see someone in there saying SUI rug pull. Is SUI pulling back right now? Everything's pulling back right now, so don't call it a rug pull. Yeah, that's not a rug pull. We'll talk about SUI later, guys. There's some stuff in there in the charts we got to take a look at later. But before we get into here and we take a look at what's happening on the Bitcoin chart, I wanted to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, and that is Lux Algo. If you guys have been a friend of the channel, been around for a while, you know that Lux Algo is used every single day on this channel. Make sure if you're serious about trading, whether you're bullish, whether you're bearish, if you want those advanced signs like the signals and overlays, if you want the amazing oscillator. We're going to talk about today some great buy and sell signals showing right now from Lux Algo. Check out the link down below to get 20% off with the BROZ link. By the way, our VIP trading group where we're talking each and every single day in-depth trades. When you purchase Lux Algo with our link, getting either the premium or ultimate package, you get free access to that group. Go sign up for Lux Algo right now. You will not regret it. Really quickly, though, go up my screen. I got to get a sip of something. I don't usually have to do the minute-long news. I think it took me 3 minutes to do, so I'm already behind schedule from what T-Shroom thinks. Smay, are you seeing anything in chat that you want to address while I take a sip of, I think I have some lemonade here. My wife got it for me. It's very delicious.
Well, while you enjoy that wonderful sip, we have some ideas here running around in chat about SUI. Some people love it, some people hate it. Cayman Ingrad said, golden rule in crypto, don't trust a project that hasn't been through the bear market. SUI is dead. Tim, what is your response?
Well, every coin at one point wasn't through a bear market and still exploded to all-time highs. I think it's a lot more to do with, I think there's merits. Before I kind of say I disagree, there's merits to what came in or comment. I don't know how you say his name. There's merits to what he's saying. They haven't really experienced the full weight of the ups and downs until they've gone through a bear market. That I agree with. However, we're not in a bear market right now. And as long as there's hopium and there's hype, and then here's the big one, in this institutional bull market, if this is a coin enjoyed and talked about highly by institutions, don't sleep on those coins either. So I think there's merits to what you're saying. Let's not talk about SUI for the next 20, 30 years right now, right? We haven't even seen how it survives a bear market. That I agree with. But for the rest of this bull market, to say don't invest in it because it hasn't seen one yet, I think that's not quite time to say it because, again, this is an institutional bull market. SUI has not been around for a bear market, but it does have a lot of attention, a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, not just amongst retail, but also institutions. That's one that you gotta continue to watch. And it's one of the highest coins that I have on my list of people need to make sure is in their portfolio. So, Cayman, I love the thought there. Love kind of some logic you're going with, but I don't know if I would apply that to SUI in this case. With that said, though, keep piling up questions. Smay, if you see anything interesting, put them in chat. Let me know. You interrupt me today, Smay. You're T-Shroom. Come on camera so people can see your face again. You're T-Shroom, which means it's your job to keep me on track. Don't let me go off the rails. If you need me to pause, you let me pause. If I need some lemonade, you come up here and you entertain the people with your glasses and your takes. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into some Bitcoin technical analysis. Like I said, today's show brought to you by Lux Algo. We're still tracking today, or a flash yesterday, and we closed successfully. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. What is that? That is my super secret, and it's not so secret because I talk about it all the time, my favorite trading strategy in the world. This is a buy signal, and this is happening out on the daily chart. It has probably a minimum going back to 93.2, realistically can come back up to 95.8. But what's making me so excited about it is this red group right here, the excessive sellers that came in to push price down, and now they are gone. This gives us a chance at pushing to higher levels than just this, making our way even maybe back up here towards 105 before it's all said and done. Now, that being said, doesn't mean that it's going to pop off right this second. As you know, with any type of buy signal, things can take 12 candles, up to 12 candles before they really start to move the way you want them to. We just got this official flash yesterday, right? Yesterday we closed successfully and had that money flow go positively. That means, guys, we could have to wait until mid-March before we finally see the bullishness happen. Now, with all the news coming out over the next couple of days and next couple of weeks, I don't think we're going to have to wait 12 full daily candles, but I just want you to know when using this strategy, you don't necessarily buy in the moment you see the buy. Sometimes you do see a manipulated pullback where price dips back down, and then you enter that one and you take those prices to the upside, right? So that's the daily chart. At the same time, though, there are concerns that I have on lower time frames. And I'm going to go kind of really low here, starting with the daily chart here on Bitcoin. I have a trade setup that I put with our VIP trading group. If you guys didn't see it, I canceled that trade setup because what I was kind of monitoring, let's kind of back out and look at this for a second. And by the way, if you guys want to see what my new trade setup is, let's get to 500 likes and I will show everybody the trade setup that is sitting in the VIP trading group section right now. I'll show you what's happening. The reason why I think there is a short that's going to come, there's going to be a little bit of a pullback probably before tomorrow night, is because of in the shorter time frame, this rising broadening wedge that we broke below the rising support level. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4 support touches before we broke beneath it. Right now, we're wrestling with it as resistance, but be cautious of a potential little manipulated move. This move would suggest, then you take the height of the last big volatile movement, you move it over the breakout point. This means that Bitcoin's price really could make its way back down below 86,000 temporarily. Something I always like to do when using formations for breakouts. I like to find different levels of confluence. On this one, I want to find a liquidation level. And I see a fat level of liquidity coming in down here around 86,200, okay? So 86,200, I think that's also coincidentally the bottom of this formation, I think is somewhere where Bitcoin wants to go. And one of the ways you can trade these formations is by waiting for the breakout, getting what we call a retest, where that former support level is used as resistance. You enter right in there, and then you trade it down. There is some things happening now with the 10-minute, 15-minute, and 30-minute chart that are giving me just a little bit of pause. What are those? Well, temporary little buy signals are coming in with the reversals, the bullish momentums, the positive money flow. You're going to see here on the 10-minute, it's going to say we're going to pop back up over this green line temporarily, maybe come back up here towards $89,000, $90,000. That's going to happen on the 10-minute. We see this, another buy signal on the 15-minute chart, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow, kind of sitting in that same area around 90,000. But the highest one I see this on is the 30-minute chart. And you can see here, while we don't officially have the buy signal yet, we're building a little bit of a bubble. Green reversal, bullish momentum, bubbles being formed, still negative money flow. But if that pops and goes back up, all of a sudden, we are talking about a move north of 90,000, around 90,003, maybe even back up here towards 90,006. So I want to wait until we establish some sell signals on the lower time frames into the short. Again, I will show you the levels that I've already entered a limit trade on here at the end of the show if we get to 500 likes. But where I'm kind of getting some negativity at the moment is I do see out here on the 4-hour chart. Why am I thinking that we're going to go to the downside? Well, red dot, red reversal, bearish momentum, bearish divergence, I do believe. Let's fact check that. Actually, that's not bearish divergence, so leave that alone. Not bearish divergence, but it is a bearish dot. And then you have that 4-hour negative money flow. That is a 4-hour sell signal right there, and it's going to bring us, that actually could suggest coming back down towards the former blue smart show. You kind of see how it's drawing out right here. That zone would kind of come right in here. Guess what? That's going to come here right around that 86,200 mark. So that's what we're watching right now for trade. If you want to know how and where I'm setting up and where I'm putting my stop losses, where I'm putting my take profits, make sure to smash that like button again for the end of the show. That's what we are seeing right now on Bitcoin. But again, I kind of just went into some micro, like next couple of hours, next day or two kind of stuff. On the macro, if you guys have been buying and holding, maybe some of you are saying, Tim, I'm not a trader. I just kind of want to buy as many lows as possible and wait for long-term bullishness. This is a very good sign. The buy signal coming in again on the daily chart, if it's going to load for me, good news, it's getting even higher than that. The 2-daily chart, right? I think we have to wait one more candle for this to close, but we don't have a reversal. We do have long-term bullish divergence. That counts as a reversal. Bullish momentum, positive money flow over that threshold. That means it's not just the daily charts one. We're talking about getting back over 100,000 on that 2-daily buy signal. So those macro time frames are starting to look very, very good for the Bitcoin chart. And I know a lot of you guys like to see that. With that said, let's go ahead and take a pause here for a second. Again, no T-stream today. It's just me. I'm going to be engaging with chat a lot. Smay, are you seeing anything in chat specifically about Bitcoin? Before we get into some of these detailed stories that we want to talk about here, what are you seeing in chat right now? What's the mood, the attitude there?
I think the mood, and I think maybe this could be indicative of the broader narrative here, that the mood is that people aren't really talking about Bitcoin in chat right now. I'm not seeing a whole lot about it. There is one chat that could encompass Bitcoin as well, but Leslie Herbert said, given tomorrow is the big crypto summit, are there moves/plays we should be making today?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think that's a good kind of step into the conversation piece that we're going to get into here. We're going to talk about tomorrow night's summit. We're going to talk about what can happen, what can't happen, how to kind of view this. I had a meeting earlier today with our VIP traders who have been very vetted on my thoughts about how to expect this stuff. Here's what you need to prepare yourself for. What happens tomorrow night is going to be good for the long-term perception of Bitcoin. Like, Donald Trump is not going to come out tomorrow night. He's not inviting all these people here to say, by the way, guys, psych, we're killing crypto. We don't want anything to do with it. Like, that's not going to happen. If it did, yes, that's very long-term bearish. I probably would sell my crypto if that happens. I put that at a 0.00001% chance of happening, though, by the way. The realistic expectation is there's a couple of announcements he could make. I'm going to list them out for you, and then I'm going to talk to you about what could happen with those. Number one, and the wide-held belief system, we've already seen sources, people talked about this yesterday. Donald Trump tomorrow night is going to come out and make his speech and let everyone know publicly, even though he's already done this on Truth Social, he's going to tell everyone that he has a plan and he's going to move to enact a Bitcoin and crypto strategic reserve, okay? The question mark is going to be, is he going to pull back his support of the other 4 altcoins, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and XRP? I don't think he will, but he could. He could come out and say, you know what, change of plans. We're just going to do a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Some people in chat would really like that. I think Smay would really like that. I think that's what he said the other day is what he would like. At the end of the day, that could be a left curve. I don't expect that to happen, but that's not going to move the needle for cryptocurrency. Why? Because anytime we already know about a detail, and they come out and say that detail again, that is a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. That's not going to pump the markets. I saw some people on X saying tomorrow night when Donald Trump says that he has a Bitcoin strategic reserve, Bitcoin shooting to $135,000. Mark this down. And I know those people are just trying to get clicks and they're just trying to get likes, and I get that. But I want to be very clear for anyone who might have fallen for those traps. Announcing a crypto strategic reserve will not pump crypto tomorrow night, people. Want to know why? Because he already said it. He said it Sunday morning. He came out of left field. No one was predicting that Sunday morning around 10 a.m., I think that was roughly the time, that he was going to go on Truth Social and announce that he was moving forward with a crypto strategic reserve, right? That was a surprise. And because of it, Bitcoin shot from like $84,000 to $95,000 within a couple of hours, right? Cardano took off like 70% to the upside. XRP took off. Solana took off. Crypto pumped on that news. But then it pulled back because we came back down to earth. If you think it's going to pump again because of that information, sorry, guys, that actually will be probably a liquidation event where new investors, maybe someone who doesn't invest in crypto right now, will hear it and they'll run and go sign up for a Coinbase account and try to buy Bitcoin. There'll be exit liquidity, right? That's how those things will work. But he also could come out and say 2 other things, and this is going to be very bullish, right? I gave you the expectation. He's going to come out and tell us he has a Bitcoin reserve, a crypto reserve. The 2 bullish potential things he could do. Number 1, and this wouldn't be bullish for Bitcoin necessarily, but let's say he adds some names to the list, which he kind of gave us a hint he was going to add some names. Let's say, again, we're going to talk about SUI here in just a little bit. Let's say SUI gets added. He says, hey, by the way, guys, along with the other 5, SUI's joining the list. Hey, by the way, Chainlink's joining the list. More on Chainlink here in a little bit. Hey, guys, ONDO's going to be joining the list. If he says that, right, Bitcoin, Cardano, XRP, Solana, they're not going to pump on that news. Ethereum as well, they're not going to pump that news. But the coins that he lists, if any new coins are said, those coins will pump because that will be out of left field. Nobody knows this coming. Some people are hoping, some people are rumoring, but that's not official, right? So if he says that, good for them, we pump. If he doesn't, nothing's going to happen. The third thing he can say, and again, this is where the title's coming from, there's rumors out there that he might announce his plans that he campaigned on to promote 0% capital gains tax on US-based cryptocurrencies. I know there's rumors, and some of you might say, well, Tim, wouldn't that be a buy the rumor, sell the news? Well, in this case, when I say buy the rumor, we're talking about legit, highly probable rumors. I don't know if 0% is a high probability rumor at this point. Until we hear from Trump staff themselves about 0% capital gains tax, we're going to have to assume that's not on the radar. Again, I'm not expecting it necessarily, but there's rumors out there. If that happens, that will cause a major rally. That will cause people to go and buy. And that one for more of a structural, fundamental reason. Why would you not run and go buy something that you will have to pay 0% capital gains tax on? That's going to be big for institutions, for retail, for everybody. That would be massive. But the reality is, what we all have learned over the last couple of months, I believe Trump is going to be very good for crypto long term. I believe that crypto's bull market has a long term, this bull market, and will have a long term in the future. Trump has a tendency, and you guys can dislike this, but it's just kind of factual. He has a tendency of overhyping and underdelivering when it comes to cryptocurrency. right? He's doing a lot of other things well. Some of you don't like it. I like it. Some of you guys like what he's doing. But when it comes to crypto, Trump has a special ability to hype us up about something really cool and then let us down at the actual event. And just so you know, that's what I'm anticipating to happen. If you ask me, Tim, right now, predict what the price of Bitcoin is going to look like over the next 24 hours. Well, I just told you. Let's go to my chart here. I think that over the next 24 hours, I think there is a small sell-off coming just from some sell signals in place here. I think this will then launch for an early market open tomorrow on Friday, somewhere over here. We're going to march to the upside. We're going to rally on this news, on the hype, on the excitement. I think there's a chance that we not only make it above 90K tomorrow, I think there's a chance that we make it up here towards 95 before the meeting. All the excitement, the news, you're going to see this all over mainstream media, all over X. The amount of hopium that we pumped into the markets tomorrow is going to be ridiculous. And I think that people buy it up. But then it's just to buy it up. So when the event actually happens, we kind of trade sideways. We wait to see what's exactly said. And then when/if all that's announced is, hey guys, we're going to have a crypto future reserve. I'm going to work my hardest to get this done. We got to get it through Congress, but we have high belief systems. I think it's not crazy to think that it pulls back down, at least back to 90K, if not a little bit below. Hey, maybe we come back down towards 84, 85. I'm okay with all of that. The truth of the matter is, though, is that we keep getting hopped up on this hopium, hopped up on this potential, and then we get let down. We find out, well, we got to keep kicking that can down the road. And that's going to bring me to this article that we really need to reflect on when we think about what the future looks like here with the Bitcoin Reserve. This is Senator Lummis. Senator Lummis is one of the most friendly Bitcoin people we have in our United States government. You should all write a letter to Lummis telling her thank you for continuing to fight the good fight to get Bitcoin in. But she had something to say that's not so fun. A lot of you don't want to hear what it is. If I can scroll down, where's my highlights? Did my highlights go away? Oh, no. Oh, I restarted my computer and it killed my highlights. All right, we're going to have to go through this here, guys. Let me find the actual quotes here. It's going to be right in here. There we go, right in here. All right, highlight this. Stick with me here, guys, as we go through this, but this is very important. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. It was hard for me to hear that my colleagues, even on my side of the aisle, were not ready, Lummis said at the Bitcoin Investor Day event in New York City on Friday. People on the Republican side of the markets are not quite ready for a Bitcoin reserve. She's quoting, and I got to zoom out here so I don't block anything, but she cited Tim Scott. By the way, Tim Scott is not anti-Bitcoin, is not anti-crypto, but she cited him, the chairman of the House Banking Committee, saying whom she had argued that said we might need to put a pin in that for a little while in the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve because we're not there yet, Lummis said. She says the biggest hurdle facing the creation of a strategic reserve is the lack of congressional support. Okay? That's not fun to hear. Everyone's hoping that we're just going to get this passed tomorrow and have it done right now. It sounds like even on the side of people who are pro-Bitcoin, like Tim Scott, sounds like even them, they're having a little cold feet. They're saying it's just not yet. Maybe they're waiting to see if states like Texas and Utah can finally get that bill over the hump. I don't know. The good news is, however, there is some things. Again, it's not as much good news as it is question mark news. Can I scroll down here? There we go. Creating a strategic reserve would effectively establish an institutional price floor for Bitcoin and other tokens, including the reserve. That's really cool here. The mechanics behind how a strategic reserve would be created and run are also a source of controversy and debate. It remains unclear if Trump can use executive powers to create a strategic reserve or if it would require an act of Congress, right? So that's the debate going on the internet right now. Can Trump even do this by himself? Is him coming out tomorrow night or him going on Truth Social or coming out and saying, I'm going to pass a strategic reserve for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? It's one of those things like, cool. Can you do that? Like, again, I'm not the foremost expert on how our government works. I probably have a little bit better than a high school education of it. But the truth is there's things like this, especially when it comes to spending, that I'm very aware. A lot of times you have to have the Congress of America's approval before you can move on it. One alternative is to create a strategic reserve out of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies already confiscated through the Department of Justice, although the mechanism of such transfer remains unclear. Go off my screen here for a second here, Smay. That's what I think we should really be aware of, is people are getting really hyped up about crypto reserves. And I believe that someday in the future, hopefully by the end of the year, we will see these reserves come to place. We will see both Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and XRP and Cardano and other good, strong cryptocurrencies be held by the US government as a strategic reserve. But I don't think that day is tomorrow. I think best case scenario, Trump comes out here and he says, hey guys, I've cleared it with the attorney general. I've cleared it with the different laws and rules that I have as the American president. I'm issuing a decree that all crypto currently held by the United States government will be locked up in a strategic reserve. By the way, that right now, to the best of my knowledge, someone could update me and tell me I'm wrong here. A lot of Bitcoin, I think hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think there's a little bit of Ethereum that the government holds, but there's not necessarily a lot. And it definitely doesn't include Solana, XRP, Cardano, and a bunch of other coins. That to me, if we're thinking about what happens tomorrow night and we're thinking through best case, worst case, middle case scenarios, best case, again, he names some more coins. They pump a little bit. Best case, he says, hey, guys, I've cleared it. I can declare strategic reserve with existing crypto. Best case, he says, I'm working and I've, Lummis was wrong. We got the votes. Next week, we're passing on a strategic reserve for crypto. Those things could happen. I just don't think they're realistically going to happen. I think what we're going to hear tomorrow night is echoing what he's been saying all week. He's potentially going to say existing Bitcoin and Ethereum will be put in there. And I think there'll be a small sell-off as it was a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. With that said, though, again, that's all minor time frame stuff. I'm not talking about dumping to 77. I'm not talking about dumping to 64. I'm talking about right now, Bitcoin has been trading in a little zone here and is still pretty in lower highs and well, we have some higher lows on those shorter time frames, but as a whole, we're in this zone here. I'm just talking about making a move back down within this zone, kind of staying in this realm of $83,000, $85,000 before something else bigger happens. I still think there's a lot of signs the bottom is in. We're going to make our way even potentially next week to break those highs. But a lot of people right now are almost predicting that tomorrow night Bitcoin's price is going to do this. I just want to prepare you for the potential of something a little bit more like this. And then later we figure it out and break back to the upside and go on to new highs. I'm going to take a break here for a second. There's a whole lot to discuss here. I'm going to do some SUI news next, then we'll get back into some questions. But any chat that you see there, Smay, on that topic? I see some people saying they agree, some people saying they disagree. What is chat saying right now?
Yeah, so we have some thoughts here from Eddie PT. He says, I think this meeting could either be very bullish or bearish. I bet there will be a lot of discussion in there since Saylor is there and the Coinbase guy, I believe he's referring to Brian Armstrong.
Yeah.
And they don't want alts on the reserve. So he's predicting that there might be a lot of debate and pushback of adding alts to the reserve. What are your thoughts, Tim?
I would doubt that there's going to be much debating happening tomorrow night. I could be wrong. I don't think that that's really what's going to happen. By the way, chat keeps saying China, China, China. Well, it's one person saying China. Is there something happening with China?
Yes, that was my next thing, guys. Come on, you gotta be patient. I already said I was gonna float this to Tim when the time was right. Good grief.
Okay, what happened?
They're already picking a fight with me. Tim, I'll go ahead and if you have no more thoughts on that subject, I will go ahead and float you this Chinese subject. So basically, China 2 days ago from Reuters, they posted that China is putting together a $179 billion stimulus for their economy, specifically with the idea of, let's see here, let me find something here on this. Okay, so pressure has been building on Chinese officials for consumer-focused stimulus to fend off deflationary pressures and reduce the world's second-largest economy's reliance on exports and investment for growth. So, Tim, basically, they're focusing on getting that consumption up in China. What are your thoughts? Do you think this could be bullish for crypto?
Thought number one, extra liquidity. Anytime you have a stimulus package, you're printing money. Guess what crypto, or what Bitcoin specifically and crypto can work as, is a flight to quality. That's the expression a lot of very intelligent people have used. It's this concept of, hey, the Chinese yuan is going to lose value here. Anyone who's smart is going to run to something that's stronger. Bitcoin definitely fits that bill. I think, though, altcoins do as well. So added liquidity, always going to be a good thing. Another good thing for the United States, as long as we have leaders who are pro-crypto, if the Chinese yuan gets lowered in value, guess what happens to the US dollar? It goes up in value, okay? Now, under previous years in leadership, and that includes Donald Trump, by the way, if you go back to 2016, 2020, when Donald Trump was anti-crypto, a strong US dollar would be seen as a threat for crypto, right? Why would I go hold a volatile crypto when this dollar is just gaining value compared to the rest of the world, the rest of the trade? But now with us having a pro-crypto government, and Donald Trump is in power saying he wants to promote crypto, that also is a positive sign. I think for the foreseeable future. So my first thought here is this is bullish. And the other thing is we've seen rumors and rumblings that China, watching what Trump has been talking about over here, and I say China, the Chinese government is under discussion. Should they consider a Bitcoin strategic reserve? I think they're going to be way after the United States. I don't think they're going to beat us to it. But that's another thing that could be very bullish for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But added liquidity, added potential involvement and investment into Bitcoin. This is all very, very good stuff. I think the other thing that this is a sign of is those tariffs. Because what I'm seeing here, I'm not going to pull up an article, but it talks about this news, obviously, is in light of the U.S. trade war, right? This goes back to what we've been saying for a long time, and I'm going to keep this quick because we're going to get into some other news here. I'm going to show you the list of people at the event tomorrow night and kind of discuss that briefly, and then we're going to talk about SUI and what's happening with SUI. People are really upset about the tariffs. They think they're ruining our country. I think they're a very good thing. I think that they're putting pressure on people to do a lot. And China making this move in response to the tariffs is a move that weakens the Chinese power and strengthens the American power. This is another sign, another evidence that these tariffs that people keep complaining about of the short-term bearishness, long-term are extremely profitable and beneficial for the people of the United States. The fact that companies are leaving China or removing some of their business from China to come and build here is a sign in and of itself. But I'm curious to see how this plays out, what the rest of it is. Someone keeps saying, I think it's the same guy keeps saying there's a Trump tweet. Did Trump tweet something? Let's look up.
I was looking.
So many tags open.
I was looking for it right now.
Let's see if he tweeted or if it's like a Truth Social thing.
Right.
Yeah, he did not tweet anything. So...
Well, while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and read this super chat here from Nikki. I'm not going to say the rest of his name because it is not appropriate. He donated $2 saying, "Nice of Tim to give a Make-A-Wish kid some camera time." Thanks, Tim.
Wow. Who said that?
Well, I can't say his name. It's Nikki something,
okay,
and it's not appropriate. But I just, I think it's really great. He's showing, Tim is a really nice guy, if you guys didn't know. And so with that, if you couldn't find the tweet, Tim, I have another question for you that will lead us nicely into you talking about SUI. What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's
do it. What's your question?
So here's a question from Kate. Well, it's not less of a question, more of a statement, and I want to see how you feel about this. KJM says, "Going 30x long on ONDO and SUI tomorrow. I'm always watching the charts. I wall-mounted a second 55-inch in my living room right next to my 75. So he's very bullish on ONDO and SUI. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen, I will not ever tell someone not to go big in investing. In fact, 20 to 30x, it's bigger, but it's not crazy big. Use a stop loss. That's all I'm going to say. Use a stop loss. And that way I think you're going to be good. And again, by the way, that is something I think if you're on the side of like what potentially bullish could happen tomorrow, Chainlink, ONDO, SUI. I'm not guaranteeing it. So that's why I'm not entering like a 100x here. But if they are mentioned, and I think there's a chance they are. In fact, one of those, two of them have a higher probability of being mentioned. Actually, I'm going to show you why here in a second. If they get mentioned tomorrow night, they will pop off. That 30x, 20x trade will be good. But have a stop loss put in place. Listen, to be a good and successful trader, some people think you have to win every trade. Good traders lose all the time. And I'm not just talking about myself because I lose trades all the time. That's not what I'm talking about. Go look at people who have been trading for 30, 40, 50 years. People have been trading longer than I've been alive. Separate the good and the bad, the successful, the ones that have made millions and millions of dollars. And I guarantee you're going to find in that winning group a lot of losses. But the difference is not that they've lost trades, is how they've managed the loss of those trades. They're always protecting their overall investments. Yeah, they might lose one day. They might go on a streak for a whole week and lose all week. But they're protecting their overall investments with proper risk management. That means stop losses. That means position sizing. That means paying attention all the time to what's happening If you're willing to do that, then 20x, 30x to your heart's content. But if you're new to trading, please trade cautiously and learn how to manage your risk. That's one of the things we do in our VIP trading group. Let's get into the SUI news here. Let's talk about SUI, and we're going to talk about the other one here as well. Investing Bros put out today, huge Donald J. Trump inspired World Liberty Financial and SUI have inked a strategic reserve deal and collaboration. Guess what? This is not the U.S. government, but it is World Liberty Financial. And just having that sentence, the strategic reserve, even if it's not the United States strategic reserve, that means you got to imagine, as Trump kind of alludes to in his tweets from Sunday morning, that we will see other coins added to this list. Well, if it's good enough for his personal reserve, wouldn't you also think that he's going to be looking to put that into the American reserve as well? That is something I think everyone should be on the lookout for. Let's take a look at what SUI's chart is doing. Some people are saying, SUI rug pull, SUI rug pull. Well, SUI pulled back. Absolutely it pulled back. The question is, why did it pull back? What did it pull back from? Are we seeing anything big being announced here? And SUI had been in a drought. If you're looking at the 1 hour chart, right, no one's going to look at this chart and think, man, this coin's a great coin. But most people are looking here and saying, gosh, SUI sucks. In fact, if you want to talk about how bad SUI sucks, let's go to all-time high and come down to the recent lows we had just a couple of days ago. SUI was down 58%. Wow. SUI sucks, guys. SUI's a rug. This is the worst investment of all time. Who the heck would ever invest money in a coin like this? Well, before you freak out, zoom out. Let's go to the daily chart. Actually, weekly chart's too long. This coin is one of the top movers already in this bull market. Yeah, it didn't exist in the last bear market, as someone pointed out to us earlier, but it is still absolutely an extremely bullish coin here. It pulled back pretty much to a former high from back in March, and that's right now where we're watching a SUI bounce. That is extremely bullish. This concept, ladies and gentlemen, of retesting former resistance levels, turn them into support. In fact, you kind of can make a case that it's really more of a zone here. Let's grab this tool here. Let's go with a nice little box. This zone, former highs being retested just, again, 2 or 3 days ago, extremely bullish. But, of course, SUI pumped this morning on this news, on this headline right here. Make sure I get this here correctly. Wrong one. There we go. SUI news right here. Pumped on this news. And guess where it pumped right up to? Pumped right up here to $3 and roughly 11 cents. What's significant about $3.11? Well, you'll see I have a very beautifully drawn red line. That is a resistance level of a long-term, very bullish formation called a falling or descending broadening wedge. A very, very strong and good formation for the long-term future of what price action could look like. In fact, if we were to take a look at how we would read the breakout of this pattern, because it is going to be a when we do get a bullish breakout above this level, we haven't yet, but we should see the price of SUI skyrocketing back up here towards $5. As you look to see what else is going on here, we're getting daily buy signals here on SUI. We're seeing a lot of different things kind of coming in here with big order blocks in this camp as well. You have heavy liquidations of short positions that we could chase up here north of $5. There's a lot of pressure kind of pushing SUI up that way. And with this major announcement, with it getting a prominent spot in the news, that is something I'm looking at for the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, for SUI to explode once again. We've seen these pullbacks before. Again, I told you 58% for SUI. Well, guess how far back SUI pulled last summer after the highs in March? It pulled back 79%. Wouldn't you have said 79% down? That's a pretty dead project. Oh, it would just go on over the next couple of months for between August and, is this in January? Yeah, August to January. What was that, 5 months? It would go up 1,071%, or in other words, an 11, almost a 12x in your investment. Seeing a lot of bottom signs here for SUI as well. On the shorter time frames, let's see what's going on here and make sure we're not setting ourselves up for any problems. Where could we expect maybe as we're pulling back right now for this pullback to stop? You're not necessarily seeing a confirmed sell signal. We're very close to a sell signal, though, here on the 4-hour chart. Red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. In fact, I think you could also, nope, that's not bearish divergence, so let's not call it bearish divergence. It's just a small little sell signal right in there on the 4-hour chart. It's rejecting right in here on our smart trail. Guess what, though? As you're kind of watching how this thing has programmed, unless I see something significant, I see some fair value gaps in this camp. My imagination here would say this smart trail, the blue one, would have kind of been somewhere in this world right in here. Okay, so coming back filling this fair value gap would not be crazy. Coming here around 272 for SUI could be on the menu. When I look at the 1 hour chart, let's take a look at what it is saying. I'm sure that we had a sell signal here. Yes, we had a sell signal right there. Guess where its smart trail's coming in at? Around high end 270, low end 263. So a lot, and it's still rising. So a lot of reasons 270, 272 looks like an interesting spot for a pullback here on SUI. But on those long time frames, once again, we're in a very bullish formation. We're under a long-term bullish buy signal. There's a lot of signs pointing for a bigger move back up towards $5. And I'll tell you this, a strategic reserve in Trump's company, that's cool. Could you imagine if SUI is mentioned tomorrow night or any night in the next couple of weeks about also joining the other 5 cryptocurrencies as being a potential U.S. federal strategic reserve? That would be something that would make the price of SUI skyrocket. What's another coin? What's another coin we're looking at that potentially could see something very similar happen? We got to go back to one of these tweets. There we go. The Eleanor Tourette tweet. I told you guys about this earlier. Let's go through and discuss this list. This list coming from Eleanor Tourette is the list of people who will be attending tomorrow night's White House Crypto Summit. Let's go through here. Number 1 on the list, Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, CEO. Guess that's tied to XRP. If you love XRP, put a 1 in chat. That's a very good sign for you and XRP's future that they were invited and will be attending this event. After this, Chris Giancarlo. He's a former CFTC chairman and senior counsel at whatever that is, okay? Wilkie. I don't know. I don't care. Nathan McCauley, Anchorage CEO. Chris from Crypto.com. A lot of exchanges on here. Crypto.com people. You guys should be excited. Smash it too if you're a Crypto.com fan. Gemini founders. The Winkelvosses. Winkelvoss. How would you say that in your best German accent there, Smay? Say one for the people.
Winkelvoss.
There you go. The Winkelvosses will be there. Shout out to Gemini. Robinhood CEO. Vlad Tenev. Probably going to butcher that one. He will be there. Another exchange there. Kraken CEO will be there. Arjun Sethi? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Again, I don't do it with Kraken. The old famous Michael Saylor. I can pronounce that one. From MicroStrategies. He will be attending. Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase CEO, will be attending. Another exchange there. Oh, here we go. Another coin, right? We got Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple and XRP. The only other coin on this list, I'm fact checking myself. Yeah, the only other coin representative on this list, Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink. But pause. There's only 2 coins being represented at this meeting, XRP and Chainlink. That is bullish, ladies and gentlemen. Chainlink was not on that list Sunday morning, but it's one that we have speculated here and several other places have speculated that could be another name joining SUI, maybe ONDO as well. But again, I'm going to give an edge to SUI and Chainlink on today's news to be added to that list. The rest of the people on here, you got Kyle Sam Nye partnering with Multicoin, Zach Witkoff, co-founder of World Liberty Finance, JP Richardson from Exodus. Okay, that one's big. Matthew Huang, co-founder of Paradigm, and then David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine. They will also be in attendance. What's the big names here? Again, I'm going to focus on Michael Saylor's cool. A lot of people are cool. I'm going to focus on the fact that there's a representative from XRP and a representative from Chainlink. But some of you might be saying, well, this is kind of circling the internet. What about Cardano? Why is Charles Hoskinson not on this list? In fact, Charles kind of made a little bit of stink. You go off my screen now, Smay. Charles made a little bit of stink the other night when people were just assuming he was going. And then he said live, yeah, I'm actually, I didn't get an invite to there. I'm going to be in Japan. This has caused the internet to go blaze. Cardano people saying, just calm down. It's not a big deal. Non-Cardano people or people that hate Cardano saying, see, there you go. Trump is pulling out on Cardano. It's dumb. It's dead. You guys, you do remember that Charles Hoskinson literally just met with Donald Trump on the weekend. In fact, Saturday night is when Donald Trump and his staff and Charles Hoskinson met. What happened less than 24 hours later? Oh, yeah. Cardano The coin probably most out of left field was one of only 5 coins mentioned by Donald Trump himself as being included in the strategic reserve. He was just hanging out with him. And I can't verify what I'm about to say. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just trying to use my rational thinking brain. Which is more likely? You guys let me know which one is more likely to be the truth. Option number 1, Trump meets with Charles on Saturday, loves Cardano, includes it on a tweet on Sunday, and then since then, less than 1 week later, he all of a sudden hates Cardano and hates Charles Hoskinson. That's option number 1. Option number 2, when they were meeting, the conversation of this event came up, and he and Charles let Trump know, oh yeah, I'm going to be in Japan on the 7th. And so Trump didn't waste the paper or taxpayer dollars to send him an invite. I kind of like option number 2. I kind of think that one makes more sense. But let me know in chat. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Trump has already turned on Charles and Cardano, or is it probably likely that in that conversation it came up that Charles would be out of town? Is Charles just leading the internet on? Charles is a troll, guys. Charles is very good friends with Elon Musk. They both love to troll people on the internet. Isn't that just quite up the alley to troll people and say, oh, I never got an invite. Cardano's terrible, isn't it? And then guess what? Maybe Cardano's mentioned tomorrow night and Trump confirms that is a part of the plan. And all of a sudden Cardano shoots up again. That is what I'm kind of laying out here. Let me know what you guys think. It is 3:51. Technically, I've gotten through, I think, everything I had planned to discuss. But I do want to talk with you guys, get some more feedback. What are you guys thinking about the markets right now? What coins would you potentially like to take a look at? Alpha Geek says, do technical analysis on ONDO, please. Well, you know what, Alpha Geek? I was going to throw it to Smay to let him choose what questions we answer, but I'm going to do that here in just a second. I did see a super chat earlier, Smay, that you probably saw it. I saw it and it scrolled away from me. What is that super chat?
Okay, well, I didn't. Oh, I have one. It was from Kankles, and Kankles said, Smay has too much sauce.
He does. You have too much sauce.
Well,
what do you do with all that sauce?
I don't know, Tim. I'll be honest with you. It's just sometimes I just have to let it out. Let it give it as a free gift to the world. But just to humble me, Feedy said, "Bro on the left looks like a Chechen fighting in Ukraine who had too many rations."
Ooh, I don't know if you should be a compliment or an insult.
I don't know what that means, but thanks. But anyways, Tim, I do have something here for you. I have a couple of things, so just if you want to go ahead and move on to Ondo, you just let me know. But we have a guy questioning why there would be such thing as a crypto reserve. It's from Adam Klein saying, why would the U.S. Congress agree to buy any crypto that will drop in price after whales and retail sells? The point of a reserve is to maintain value.
Yeah, well, guess what? Everything drops and sells. Even gold has gone up and down. This would be the logic that I would say goes into crypto. I think Bitcoin makes the most sense as a long-term strategic reserve. I think the United States adopting it as such. By the way, we're going to do ONDO TA. Someone else offer AERO TA. We're going to do that here in a second. But I want to answer this question, then we'll get in there. It makes a lot of sense to put Bitcoin in there. The argument I will make for the rest of them is that this is the growing technology of the future of how we're going to operate financially, technologically. Putting that into the U.S. government as a strategic reserve would make sense as a solidifying that we're going to be serious about that. I mean, the things that will happen to protect those interests will be astronomical. And some people are going to say, isn't that centralization? Well, it would all be centralization to the upside. Centralization is the wrong term there. It would all be a protection to continue to push those things to the upside and continue to invest in what's best. While I like the altcoin strategic reserve, I would be okay. I would be A-okay if we come out tomorrow night and we say, hey guys, change your plans. No altcoins, just give me Bitcoin. I get it. But the case would be, as America gets very serious about being the hub of cryptocurrency and they want the greatest minds to come here, putting your money where your mouth is and investing in it like that would make sense to me. Also, could you imagine things like the internet being put into a strategic reserve when it was first created if we were serious about it? I mean, America would be a very, very wealthy if they had created a strategic reserve investing into the growth of the internet in the early stages. We are still in the very early stages of crypto. But what we are seeing the world operate and realize is Bitcoin's cool. Bitcoin is digital gold. It's in a box of its own when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin really shouldn't even be called cryptocurrency, guys. It should just be called digital gold. But the future of blockchain technology in the crypto space for the furthering of what we're doing is going to be monumental, and investing in it heavily and building that structure heavily to promote it and build it up and to encourage it. That's something I think would make a lot of sense for the United States to do. That's my case for it. Let me know in chat if you dislike that. I'm good either way at this point. Bitcoin alone or adding altcoins in, I'm happy with all of it. With that said, let's do some technical analysis here. By the way, we're not at 500 likes, so I guess you guys don't want to see a trade setup. Got to get to 500 likes. We had 1,500 people here watching on YouTube, by the way. Another 250 over on X. We definitely have enough people to hit the like button. You guys just got to smash that like. Let's look at ONDO TA and AERO TA. I also saw someone ask earlier, where do you do leverage trading? Well, guess what? In the links down below, description, check out Blofin. Blofin is the official trading exchange partner of the BROZ community. Join that. Get Luxago, start trading today. Come join and trade with us in our VIP trading group. There's me. There's several other pro traders in the Investing Bros community. You don't want to miss out on it. There's some great opportunities there. Take a look at ONDO's chart. Kind of a similar spot as what we saw with what we were just looking at SUI. A falling channel, this isn't a broadening wedge, it's a channel, but a very similar movement here. Falling channel here. We told you the other day, for ONDO to be bullish, we really need to get back above this zone. We need to break this red line, get back up here above 130. I would say to feel extremely bullish again, getting back up over 166 and breaking the lower highs that we're in right now would be very bullish. That absolutely could happen with this formations breakout. Again, you take the opening of the formation here with falling channels. Move it over to our potential breakout spot. This would give us a prediction of a $2.01 ONDO in the next couple of weeks and months if that breakout starts to happen. By the way, if you guys are wondering, Tim, all these formations, how do you know where to predict them? These are all things we teach in the BROZ Academy. You're going to want to check it out. ONDO, excuse me, we were talking about SUI before, has its own daily buy signal going, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow on the way. Again, short end of that. That's kind of the resistance we're running into right now. But if we break above there, all of a sudden we're talking about probably moves up here towards 160, back up towards that zone, 165. If we can break above there, again, we're talking about the breakout long-term prediction coming all the way back up to $2. But that's just what Luxago on the daily chart is telling us. So pretty much like what you should expect from next 2 weeks to a month at most, probably 160, unless something really special pops off here for ONDO. Like, who knows? It gets mentioned as a potential for a crypto strategic reserve. As far as pullbacks are concerned here, though, again, I believe things are pulling back here this evening, more than likely, or early tomorrow morning. I don't know if Asia is going to do it. I'm just preparing for those moves. We are overextended here. You can actually see even on this one, a 4-hour sell signal is in place. Whew. It could get canceled out here, but red reversal, bearish momentum. Technically, we got negative money flow flowing in right there. That would suggest a potential move all the way back down here towards 93 cents. That's a little low for me. I want to see how other things are kind of coming here. That's a pretty dramatic move to the downside. The 1-hour chart actually already been hit here. Did it have a sell signal? It did. It had a sell signal, but it's going to have some camp here on 101. What I'm going to be interested in, let's take a look at the 10-minute chart, and let's put on our liquidations. I think chasing liquidations to the pullback makes sense to me right now. I think that 4-hour smart trail way back, I think it was below $1, like 90 cents. That's just too low for me. What I'm seeing right here, there's a fat amount of liquidations coming in right around 104. 104 could be an interesting spot on ONDO. No guarantee. There's definitely a stack of liquidity that stops here on 107. So that's an interesting spot as well. And I'm curious to see if there's anything else. There's definitely an equilibrium right in that spot as well. There's take profits on the 10-minute chart, and that's camp. So 107 is going to be very interesting, but then after that, 104, where that liquidation could be a very interesting spot for a pullback on ONDO. We're going to do AERO here. I know I did do AERO, I think last week. Someone said I hadn't done it in a while. Maybe you just weren't here, but we had done AERO recently. We'll do more AERO, though. Give me 1 second. Yep, Tim, always placing trades around liquidations. Yeah, I mean, just, the reason why you place trades on liquidations is liquidations is literally where the manipulators go to get rid of retail investors. So looking at liquidation charts to pick where you want to enter and exit is pretty much the strategy of whales and manipulators. So Not a bad strategy. AERO lost the level of support here that I had really liked. Not the end of the world. Still has a higher low coming in from the lows back in September, but I didn't love that move. It's in a little bit of a falling wedge pattern. That is long-term bullish. Something that is going to be something to push us back to the upside. However, it's not going to necessarily even get us back up to all-time highs. We're talking about maybe a move back up towards 140. That's just the charts right now, necessarily. Where we do see a bubble being formed. I think this one doesn't officially have a daily buy signal yet, but I love the bubble with all the excessive sellers pushing. Eventually, those will leave and will go to the upside. It's just the problem that we don't have that buy signal yet. AERO clearly not getting the same momentum that other cryptos have gotten. We do have some good bottom-looking candles in here, but some concerns on the long front. I'm not necessarily seeing daily strong bullish divergence like you see on several other charts. That's something I'd really like to see to feel more comfortable about AERO pushing back to the upside. What is AERO at right now on CoinMarketCap? I'm going to look it up here. It fell out of the top 100. It's not a good. Yeah, AERO is definitely losing some momentum. It's not the greatest looking chart in the world. Again, a double top at best. It's not the worst, but it's not a great sign there that we double top from those highs back in March, April of 2024. I would tell people, be cautious about AERO until you see a breakout above this red line. Then again, you should see a good pop back up towards 140. Let's reconvene the news. Let's reconvene the momentum. But this is one that it seems like there's just very little momentum at any point. It just can't catch a break. Not that it's a problem that it's down 77% because coins can drop that far, but when you're down that far and you have no explosive movements whatsoever, that does tend to be a problem in my personal opinion. So sorry about that, AERO holders. I'm just trying to help you as best I can. I hope I'm wrong. And that this ends up being amazing and you guys make a lot of money, but that's not something I'm putting my money in right now. All right, guys, that is the technical analysis portion of the day. We did get to 511 likes, but it was 402. Smay, we have a factoid of the day here. Should we give them the live trade setup, or do you think that they missed the window?
Well,
I believe this should be on you. So if you say yes, people will love you. If you say no, people will hate you. I just want to be clear. This is all on Smay's shoulders.
This is all on Smay's shoulders. Well, here's the thing, Tim. You gotta give me something here. Did you say that it had to be within a certain time frame? Was that in the deal?
Did I say? It's 4:02. We're running a little long here. I don't remember if I said end of show or if I said 4. We've been doing it by the 30-minute mark. I didn't say the 30-minute mark. I'm going to leave it up to you. I don't know. That's completely on you. I don't want any of the blame.
You know what, guys? I'm going to do the thing that everybody doesn't want to hear. I think we go ahead and move on to the factoid. And here's the deal. You guys now have the incentive. Join in tomorrow, last show of the week, and like earlier. Come on, guys. You know the rules. You got to like as soon as you get in. And then maybe you'll get your precious trade set up. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the factoid of the day, brought to you by Decrypted.tax. All right, Tim, which ancient, because there's a lot of talk about taxes potentially, which ancient civilization is credited with implementing one of the earliest known tax systems? A, the Roman Empire, B, ancient Egypt, C, ancient Greece, or D, ancient China?
Yeah. Well, last time you tried to throw me off with a picture, and I would be very surprised if the Roman Empire was the first one. I think it's the newest on this list. I don't think that they were the first. China does a lot of things first. I'm trying to think, though. Ancient Egypt would have been one of the first world superpowers. I'm not as familiar with the history of China and how old you would call China, the country of China.
I'm pretty sure China is, just to help you out here, China is like almost equally as old as Egypt.
Okay.
It's like the second oldest country.
I'm gonna say China because China seems to be the first to do everything. But that's just, I'm gonna go D, China.
All right, everybody. B. Ancient
Egypt.
Egypt.
Mm.
Yes, and I have a fact check here, ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't trust the Smeatang. I haven't said that in a while. All right, zooming in. About 5,000 years ago, we see the record of taxation in ancient Egypt, where the pharaoh collected a tax equivalent of 20% of all grain harvest. Wow. Also, Tim, everybody hates me now. Thank you for putting the fate of this show in my hands.
And you know what? It was a test because I want to see how you respond. I'm going to bail you out here, guys. We're going to wrap up. I'm going to show you guys my trade set up right now for Bitcoin. You guys had 500
it was
likes.
reverse psychology because I knew Tim was going to do that if I took the hit for him.
It was a test to see who's a real lover of the show and who's a hater. Some people probably hated it and left, and now they're going to miss out on it. You guys who stayed around, you guys are the real champions here. You get to see what I'm looking at. I'm going to explain why as well. So real quickly, go to my chart here, and this is going to be wrapping up the show. I told you guys earlier, rising, broadening wedge. These are bearish patterns. I think that we're going to see, I kind of already set some stuff up for you guys. We're going to be entering up here. I'm going to tell you where I'm entering exactly, but I'm going to be putting my take profit on the 10-minute liquidation, significant liquidation level coming in right here at 86, let's call it 230, right? I'm going to go 230. I always like to kind of be in the middle of those things. 230, give or take. All right, 86, 230. That's where I'm trading down to. Where am I going to put my entry, right? Where am I going to enter this market? Well, as I told you, there were some buy signals coming on in some of these time frames. And until I see a strong sell signal, I got to believe we're going to continue to go to the upside here. Buy signals coming in. We're looking at targets up here. The highest one I'm seeing, the thing that concerns me, is a move back up towards the 30-minute chart. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to look for an entry position somewhere in this world around $90,100, give or take. Let me see what I put. I want to get these levels because things have changed a little bit here, but I want to see where I put this last one in my trading group. Okay, I went a little higher than that. And I think I had some backed up reasons here. So let's come back in here and take a look at some other things as well. Not going to find it there. Let's go to the 10-minute chart again. I think it's because of this liquidations. Yeah, there we go. Liquidations. That's what it is. 90,300, give or take, is where we're going to kind of come in here. Equilibrium zone. That's going to keep us underneath. Let's get rid of the liquidation chart real quickly. That's going to keep us right in the smart trail pocket right in there, but it's also going to allow us to get back up to an equilibrium zone, clear out some fair value gaps. It would make a lot of sense for a little fake out coming right back up in there. If you guys want to enter a little lower than that, you absolutely can. I have mine set for $90,300. As far as where my take profit's going to be, though, that's going to come up. I'm just going to come down here towards 91,000. I want to be above this 30-minute smart trail. But I don't want to leave a lot of the table. If we end up being wrong and the bulls start taking off, I want to get out quickly, right? So there is our trade set up. Let's back out. Let's remove some fluff here and take a look at those entry and exit positions. We're entering right here, $90,300 back up there at the smart trail. We want to make sure if it gets above that smart trail, we want to get out at 91,000. That's roughly a 0.79% stop loss. I'll show you if you're leverage trading what you can do with that. My take profit on this move, 86. Again, I said 230, give or take. So right in that area. We're looking at 4.52% move. Now, I have a rule when I trade. I never want to lose more than 30%, and sometimes I don't even want to lose a full 30%. With us having a 0.79% loss here, I really could do a couple of things here. I definitely could go up to a 10x. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about a 7% stop loss, but I guess 8%. I'm okay with a 16% stop loss here. Losing 16% of my position. So I'm going to go, you guys don't have to do this. I'm going to go with a 20x on this position. If you want to be a little less risky, only risk about 7%, you can go with a 10x. If you're trading with like $100,000, yeah, maybe lean a little bit lower on that level. Still gaining. If you want a 20x here, we're talking about a 80 or 90% move to the upside if you get this correct. Make sure you use that risk management properly. Do not risk more money than you're willing to lose, and you will be a profitable trader right there. If you want to see more trade setups like this daily, If you want to get more access to not just Bitcoin, but also using some different things we have for other coins as well, join the VIP trading group. Go sign up with Luxalgo. Go check out our membership options. Come in and trade with me and a bunch of other amazing pro traders in the Investing Bros community. With that said, though, guys, that's all I have for you in today's show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Smash a like on your way out. Hit that subscribe button as we are inching closer to 50,000 subscribers. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Adios.